Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Abundant Life Mastery Mentor Series. My name is Candice Johnson. I am a soul connector. And over the past few months, I've had just this calling on my heart to gather many soul teachers, spiritual teachers, even physicists, scientists together to help us understand what's going on in the world right now, all of the energy that's going on in the world right now, and how we can learn to not keep it inside of us, learn how to focus out on what is actually really occurring in the big world and the multiple dimensions versus just the dimension that's going on right here. And today's expert I met on one of my very first series that I ever did, Tara Love Perry, and she is a soul reader, author of I Love You Me, creator of the I Love You Me coaching method, which she is in the process of writing actually, I think Tara is the children's book is complete.
It's not yet complete. I've been
Okay.
writing it. It's got to wait until summer. It'll be ready in summer.
Okay. So she's currently authoring. Well, I'll let her explain that. And she's currently writing an incredible book for children based on her I Love You Me book that was produced a few years ago. And she's on an incredible journey. And we've just kept in touch and remained friends. And we started this interview before we got started in this interview. We were both in some different energies and said, you know what, we're just going to press record and see what happens today. So we're going to bring it to you completely raw, completely open, and I'm sure it will serve someone in the audience today.
Thank you, Candice. I mean, real is where it's at, right? Isn't everybody fed up of the bullshit? And who can stomach any more bullshit? So, I hope no one minds if I use that word.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, just be real. And I don't think anyone gets more real than us, Candice.
No.
I mean, they do, obviously, but publicly, I just love it when personally I connect more with people when I know they're being authentic and genuine and real and vulnerable and just who they are without all of the pretense. So I'm really happy to be here. Whatever happens, it's just good to be with you.
I love that. I love that. When I said, I'm just glad that I have an interview with Tara today because I'm in a weird space right now. And and then of course we're kind of in the same place. So
I know.
I know. I'm just gonna go right into it. So currently something that I am working on in my human experience is I am with a partner. We're moving into our third year together, and he does not want to get married. Marriage is, for his experience, it doesn't mean anything. It means that society has put a norm onto men or onto the masculine partner that you must get married and have kids, and it has to look like so many years. You're together for 3 years, you get engaged, and then you get married. He said, I don't want any part of the process. And in what I hear him say is, well, do you ever want to get married? And for women, and I'm hoping that this interview also supports men. So I'm like, all right, okay. And I said this to Tara just a few minutes ago. I said, well, when I check into my body, when I check in, okay, well, why do I want to get married? Is it social conditioning? Is it something that I came up with in my head? And all I can think of is like the little girl that lives inside me who says, I want to get married. I want to I want to have a ring on my finger. It's the want. Like, I spent a lot of my life not letting myself want to have a lot of money to travel. I spent a lot of my life not wanting my voice to be heard. I spent a lot, and all of these things, like, I want to come here and I want to want abundantly. I want to want without limits. And I want to marry my partner who doesn't want to marry me. So the experience that I'm having is that how do I continue to give my time, my mind space, because we live together. There's like that whole mind space. You're working your entire life weaving together. Your energies are always connected. And how do I continue to create that web, this technically, how do I continue to create this and give someone my body fully when physically he does not want to be tied to me for our lifetime. It's where I'm at. It's completely where I'm at.
I just want to just hug you.
I know. I
I'm
can't wait
just going
till
to
we
hug
meet in
you.
person.
Lean in. I'm going to squeeze you.
I know. I know. I can't wait till we meet in person.
I know. There's a lot of miles, isn't there? Oh, and darling, I really feel you. I really feel you. And I think a lot of people have felt something similar to this if they're not feeling it at the moment. And I hear you as well, the little girl who doesn't, I was the same, never let myself want anything because it would be too disappointing. There was too much disappointment. And when we've come from a lot of lack or not being recognized or special or acknowledged in any way or listened to or see, that whole thing that every little person, every little me inside everybody grew up with either not feeling properly seen, properly heard, properly validated, properly loved, properly wanted, welcomed, cherished, adored, special. Every little me wants that. And yes, we have the fairy tale dreams, and yes, we have the conditioning, but isn't it weird? Like, even though, Candice, I have for years and years and years been doing my self-love, the healing, the deconditioning, same as you, right? Doing the deconditioning, going, I know this is a program, and actually understanding it from what it is, releasing myself from the attachment and being in a completely different energy with so many different aspects of life that have been conditioned into me. This is me personally now. And yet that one thing, the same as you, are going, but I just still want to get married. And I'm like, and I had exactly the same thing as you at Christmas. And in fact, on Boxing Day, I had a total and utter meltdown. And it lasted a couple of weeks because I found it really hard to get over it. Because my partner, we've been together on and off for 10 years. And I actually wrote the I Love You Me 7 Steps to Transformational Self-Love for him initially, because I thought if he could just love himself and forgive himself, he would heal from his damage. And then I'd be able to be in a cohesive, healthy relationship with this guy who seemed to be really messed up. So I wrote the book for him. And we still broke up even after that. And then I went away and I read the book. I wrote the book, sorry. I'm getting all muddled up.
Okay.
I wrote the book, gave it to him, but it was on my computer, so I hadn't published it at that point. So when I went back after this huge breakup that we had, where we almost were going to get married, he'd finally told me we were going to get married. And I went nuts and got all the dress ordered and everything and was so excited. And then he totally changed his mind and ran off to Australia and left me with all these plans half done. And I was devastated, like proper devastated. And that's when I went back to my computer where the book was on my computer and read it. And it changed everything because I was like, oh my God, that's not for him, it's for me. That I love you me, I'm not loving myself enough. And I had all of these needs and wants from him, all these projections onto him. And through doing my own method, and it's real simple, I can explain it later if anybody wants to hear about it, but I did my own method and that completely catalyzed a huge change for me. Anyway, a few years later, guess what happened? We're back together. It's everything I always wanted. It's like, I don't know what he did whilst we were apart for a few years during that time when my life changed, but I changed so much. I become so much stronger in myself, so much more self-assured, not the, lacking in confidence and lacking self-esteem girl I used to be that was a lot more needy and dependent on someone to make me feel loved. I completely changed. And so we get back together. Suddenly he's the man of my dreams I've always wanted. We now live in this beautiful place and, he's kind, he's caring, he's everything I always wanted. It's like he changed because I did the self-love. And he even gave me this Christmas, he gave me diamonds, right? And I've always wanted diamonds or a diamond, But guess what, Candice? He gave it to me in a box and it didn't have a ring attached to it and it didn't come on one knee. I was just like, well, I don't care about a diamond in a box. I want it on my finger. Like, I want it on my finger. And he couldn't understand why I was mortified. He was like, we've got everything. What more do you want? You know, and I'm like, well, he even said to me, my partner, I want to be with you for the rest of your life. But some part of me just didn't feel safe with that. I was like, well, you said that before and we broke up. And there was that part of me just going, yeah, but I want something to feel certain. I want it to be real. Like, words are one thing, but when you've got that ring on your finger, somehow maybe it makes it real. And I don't know about you. I don't know if this is for you as well, Candice, but I don't care about a diamond in a little box somewhere, even though it's beautiful and amazing. And I'm like, how lucky am I? It's like, when I can see it on my finger every day, and I go, when my man gave that to me, he gave me some energy, he gave me some words, he gave me a promise, he made me feel a certain way. And maybe it's that special thing again, special. Yeah. And that when I can look at it every day, it's going to remind me that somebody cherishes me that much, or not just somebody, but the one that I also cherish. And that I mean something, I'm valuable to somebody else. And it's kind of sacred. Do you have that feeling? Kind of sacred. And I also, like, I just turned 48 and I'm like, I want to wear a wedding dress before I'm 50, you know? You're still young. It's just, I'm coming up to 50 and I'm like, man, I don't want to be in a white dress past 50. There's something wrong with that. And my partner, just like yours, just said, well, I love you, but I don't want to get married. I'm never going to get married. It's a horrible thing to do. You know, it's just a program, Tara. And I'm like, not for me, it isn't.
I hear you. So for Christmas, I got a coffee mug. I won't even use coffee mugs. It had my like name on it. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do with that?
What do you do with that?
What do I do? What is this is it like a gag gift and I like something's coming and I don't get it? You know? And then, you know, exactly what you just said. You said it's a program, Tara. You know, he said it's a program. And my partner says the same thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's break it down. Okay. What if it's a program, where did it come from? Who, and what I think back is like, who in your life would have told you that the ring is what symbolizes the relationship? Like, what power have I given some story that somebody told me when I was younger, that there was a wedding dress and like the cues and the people and the food and the dancing, and you know, what part of my childhood has my power that I'm so conditioned to want this ring on my finger? That's what comes up for me. And then the other thing is, as you're talking, because I can see it from their perspective, is, you know, I feel the same way, Tara. I want to be able to look down and remember that someone gave me their word. It is a physical representation of someone giving me their word that they want to be with me forever. It's not about the ring itself and the diamond. It's what it symbolizes. It tells me he says he wants to be with me for the rest of my life, of this lifetime. And in my experience, my partner and I have been together multiple lifetimes past. And And I know for me, if you don't want to be with me in this entire lifetime, well, for my experience, I lost you 7 lifetimes ago. Something devastating happened. And I thought I was going to lose you forever. And now I find you again. And you don't want to physically represent that you want to be with me for the rest of my life. So, okay. So if I hear it from an outside perspective, it's like, okay, well then what part of me is attached to a physical object? Why would I give a physical object like, you know, my power? Like my first mentor, whoever told me that I was supposed to be a spiritual guide, shall we say, back in 2012, when I had no idea what was going on in my life. I was still a nurse. Right before I left Pennsylvania, he gifted me this Sri Yantra tapestry,
Mm.
and I have carried it everywhere. It's like I have a physical experience. I have an emotional attachment and experience to this physical object. The paintings, all right, I could take a picture of that. But my mentor, the first man who believed that I had a spiritual experience in this planet, gave me this. So okay, well, now I'm attached to a physical object. This object has power, has some of my power. So for a man to say, well, why would I need to give you a physical object when I'm inside your heart at all times? Why can't you just drop into your heart and hear the words that I'm saying? I want to be
Mhm.
with you for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
So, okay, so that for me, is that coming from a scarcity mindset? Is that coming from a experience that I had when I was younger, experiences that we have when we're younger about not trusting?
Mhm.
And is that experience coming from not trusting? There was another one and I lost my train of thought, but
Well, I think security has
you
something to
know,
do with it, doesn't it? There's something secure about a physical object. And I know where we can go with this because actually I overcame it and something amazing happened. So I will share with that in a bit. But when you're saying that someone says to you, okay, you got an attachment to a physical object that holds some degree of power. If we just think about it, how many talismans do people wear that put their power associated with that? Crystals, magic wands,
yeah,
smudge sticks. For some women, it's their red lipstick, and
yeah.
they put their red lipstick on, and they've got power. Some
He
people,
has
it's
his Yeah, he has his 3 soul words, and he wears them every day on a big necklace. It's like one of his most cherished
right.
objects.
What I'm trying to say is not so much about your guy, but how many of us do this without thinking and thinking we don't have attachment to
Yeah.
physical objects. What about your attachment to your house? What about your attachment to your car? What about your attachment to your business or your neighbor or your business card name, and going, this is
Yeah.
me, this is who I am, this is what gives me power. If we actually think about it,
Wow. Yeah.
and symbols do hold a great degree of power. We've come before language of words was born. Symbols were how we communicated. We communicated and we made relationships and what's the word I'm looking for? Like we consecrated events and people through ritual, through ceremony. And everything in those
Yeah.
ceremonies, and we still do daily without thinking about it. Maybe they're not as meaningful or the symbolism has changed, but we all live with daily rituals and ceremonies that give us a sense of meaning, whether it's your morning practice or that you always eat dinner with your family and say grace, or whatever it is, you put your special socks on when you need to have an interview or something, it's like or your
Yeah.
bedtime ritual or your yoga practice or whatever, or your mantra, or your crystal alignment, whatever it is. We have attachment to physical objects and symbols and ritual and ceremony because we are third dimensional beings anchored in a third dimensional world. And we make this place our home, even though we're a spiritual being and maybe our higher self does not need the ring. Our higher self does not need the ceremony, because in our higher selves and in our spirits, we're all free, we're all unattached, and we're all enlightened, right? But when we come into this human experience, we have vulnerability, we have emotions that don't make any sense. We have a longing and a need that is beyond logic, and you can't be Mrs. or Mr. Spiritual all over that and say just be unattached, because that's completely bypassing what's actually happening, something really important that's happening. And especially, Candice, when something like this becomes so important that it's not just a whimsy or a fancy or something that you can just erase and get unattached from, like it doesn't matter, and just be more enlightened and detached. I feel like that would be bypassing something that actually needs some real deep love, care, and attention and curiosity.
Yeah.
That, okay, something in you, something in me needs meeting. And it does
Yes.
need to be richer. And we do need to involve our rituals. We do need to have some kind of meaning that bonds our relationships, especially, you know, for the last 20, 30 years, relationships have been so flipping flighty, haven't they? They're coming and they're going, and the amount of divorces anyway. It's not like the marriage certificate is going to mean forever, but there's something around, not just the marriage certificate and the classic, you know, picket fence and the 2 kids and the dog or whatever. There's something sacred around a ritual and words spoken and commitments made. And you and I both know the power of commitment opens up 1,000 more doorways. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And I even was talking to my son about this, my 20-year-old son. He was so funny. He's like, I finally realized that in my relationship with my girlfriend, I was really only half in. I was still acting like a single man because he'd never had a girlfriend before. For the first 6 months, he was in his head. He said, Mom, in my head, I was still single. Even though I was with her and I loved her, I still think I'm single. And they split up for a little while. He worked his stuff out and he said, I'm back in now and I feel like I'm a man.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And he said, it's like, if I had a foot in one boat and a foot in another, it's going to wobble. And I said, darling, that's why your girlfriend was wobbling. Because you've got a foot in the relationship and a foot out of the relationship, just in case. Keep your options open. And so because we're female, we feel that uncertainty, don't we? We feel it from them. And then we wobble, and then they're like, oh, it's you wobbling. You're the one with the problem. It's like, well, I'm feeling something. Yeah. So my son, bless him, he put both feet in the boat and sat down and was present. And guess what? No more wobbly girlfriend. And he's happy. He's happy because she's got wobbling, and she's happy because he's finally 2 feet in, you know, in on the relationship. Yes. And of course they're too young in their relationship to get married, but it was like, yeah, that really makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes back to what you said earlier. It's that safety. Women, the feminine experience is that when we feel safe, we will create fill in the blank. When we feel safe, we will do this. It is fundamentally, it's fundamentally, it seems more easy for us to create something, be in the world authentically when we can establish an experience of safety, of having that safety that's safe for the womb to express itself and be out in the world. And that makes total sense. That makes total sense.
And that's not conditioning. That's the way we are designed as women. Yeah. Because when we procreate and we create a child with a man and we carry that child, it is the most vulnerable thing you're ever going to do. Because your whole mind state changes, your neurology changes, your emotions completely change, your hormones completely change, your body changes. You become more vulnerable, more open than ever. And so there's something very ancient about that. That's not a new thing.
Yeah.
And there's a need in a woman to feel safe and connected to her partner and stable and secure, because you're going to give your whole body to build that family.
Yes.
But what I also know about men is that they want the same safety. But it's like, and I don't think this is necessarily a male-female thing, but how many people go, I want to feel safe too, but am I safe when I'm fully committed, or am I trapped? Am I safe and free, or am I safe and in prison and locked into something that I can't get out of? And what agreements are going to change once we're married? And actually, will we have less intimacy because it's all very mundane now? And, you know, what if all these expectations of me are now plonked on top of me that I can't fulfill? So that also doesn't feel safe from that other perspective. But both parties want the safety. It's just what you call safe, you know, what safety means. Yeah. And I think, again, this is a deep need between a man and a woman, And I can't speak about non-heterosexual relationships because I've never been in one, but I guess, you know, if people are watching and you're not in a heterosexual relationship, you have your own version, fill in the blank, you know, I guess we all play that out one way or another.
Yeah. You know what comes up for me too is, everywhere around the world we go to, just like you said, all the rituals, like let's take a look at both of the things you've just spoken about, the
Yeah.
rituals and the safety. Well, isn't it
Mm.
interesting that the majority of the rituals that we're seeing right now is so that we can feel safe in our bodies, safe in our experiences, safe in the world, safe with other people, safe to express, safe to
Mhm.
heal, safe to
Mhm.
love yourself, ourselves,
Mhm.
safe to travel in other dimensions, safe to see and then we ritual to feel safe.
Yes.
So I'm loving this. I'm loving this. And then of course what keeps coming up for me is the symbol of the ring, is the eternal, the
Eternity.
infinity.
Mm.
Yeah, that there's a safety in that we will always be eternal, that I will always be safe, it'll always be
Mm.
infinity. It'll keep going no matter what happens. Oh, we're going to stumble over. We're coming up to the diamond area. There's going to be a bump up here. That's okay because we know we're going to keep going to the other side. Same thing with
Oh,
the
that's so
relationship,
cute.
right? Same thing with the relationship. Oh, well, we know that there's going to be some places where we're going to get to redistribute our energy in some way, but we know it's still going to keep going eternally.
I mean, the symbolism of the diamond ring, or even just the gold band. I mean, the gold band as a complete circle has always been the symbol of the sun, which is the constant, which is the constant warmth, the constant life, the constant light, you know, the constant masculine, actually. And it's the container,
Interesting.
and it's the container that holds everything else to give it the freedom and the safety to
Yes.
express and to be open, because the circle is open, right? Like the woman. So it's absolutely beautiful on that respect. Some people I know have talked about the gold band of a wedding ring being a closed loop. In other words, that it's a confinement, and that wedding bands should be a spiral, because then you've still got the circle, but it's not closed and fixed. It can still grow and expand. So
Mm.
maybe there's different ways of interpreting that.
You know what comes up for me?
What?
The diamond that sits on top. The diamond is a representation of Mother Earth because the diamond has been forged from the
The
earth.
crystal. And absolutely. And if you've connected to Gaia, the way I've connected with Gaia,
Yes.
when I see her heart and feel her heart, and I'm in the heart of Gaia, it is like being in a diamond. She has a pure diamond heart center, and it's enormous and it's incredible. So yeah, there's that. And also the diamond is the most powerful of all gemstones for healing, because it contains all 7 rays, and it's the hardest substance. So it's unbreakable in that respect. And it's got the whole light band. So it's the most powerful healing stone. It's an amplifier. And also, you know what it brings to mind for me is the eclipse. You know, when you have the
Yeah.
new light on the other side of the eclipse, you have the dead center eclipse where it goes dark. And then as that shadow moves over the sun, you get the diamond. So they call it the diamond ring of the eclipse, which is the new beginnings, the new life. And it's magical and it's amazing. And of course, diamonds represent worth as well, and value. And they're beautiful. They're completely beautiful. Like
Yeah.
who wouldn't want to look at that every day?
I know. I know. You know what, what's also been coming up for me is to talk about timelines. So I love to talk about timelines. And, if we have been, so if this is ritual and what really comes up for me is like, where did that in our history, and I definitely don't know enough about his. I don't recall, I will say, enough about history to go back into the timelines and go back and to understand where that symbol came from. But what you said so beautifully a few minutes ago was just that it has been documented. I mean, I feel like I watched a Netflix show on hieroglyphics symbolizing marriage and weddings and how objects meant things to people. And it's just like it's so buried back. And then what comes up for me is, if it's so buried back, where did that come from? What does that mean in really in the cosmos?
Mm. Well, I don't know, because you can read lots of different histories, and there's lots of different civilizations and ancient civilizations that we think we know something about, but also maybe we don't. Like what happened to marriage in Atlantis or Lemuria, or what happened,
Right.
there's so many different cultures, there's so many different timelines. I guess there's going to be some similarities across the board, but there'll also be differences. But for that, it gets really cerebral, and for me, what I like to do, like love, is to just keep it really simple. Love is a feeling, love is a knowing. And if I have a feeling or a knowing in my body, that doesn't go away no matter what I think about it, what I do about it. And it's a needy feeling, or it's a longing that wants to be met. The best thing I can do, and this is like the rule of thumb for self-love, is if I'm wanting something from somebody else and it's not working for me, because generally it doesn't, what we want from somebody else, it's never really quite works out the way we want it. But it's like, I have a longing inside of me, and if somebody can't meet me in that longing, I'm going to be the best person for that job. I need to meet me in that longing.
Yes.
I need to just have the love that I'm wanting somebody else to have for me. And I need to be the one to do that. And not in a way of, well, screw you, I don't need you anymore, but more like,
Right.
am I going to let myself, which it can be a bit of a resentment, up yours kind of thing. But I mean in that way of like a self-empathy and compassion. It's tempting.
I may have said that in my head this morning.
Yeah. And, we can apply the I love you me method to that too, and be like, well, screw
Yes.
you. I don't want to forgive you. And I don't love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I don't want to forgive you. Yeah, we could go down that road. But more for like, this is what happened to me over Christmas, right? On Boxing Day, because I got the ring, I got the diamond on Christmas Day, and it was evening time, and by bedtime, and it was like, oh, there was nothing else to it, and the day is over, and it's not happening today, and oh, it's not going to happen ever. And the next morning, I was just absolutely like in bits, devastated. I spent the next night on the sofa. I was didn't want to share myself at all. And I was like, okay, hello me, that is devastated. Hello me, that has a longing that no matter how smart or wise or spiritual or strong or self-empowered I am, it's not going away. I'm here with you. And I just went in and I really held myself. And it was a little me. It was a little me going, I want to feel safe. I want to feel cherished. I want the ritual. This is an ancient longing that's in my body. It's in my soul.
Yes.
It's not something that you can just go, well, it's a piece of paper. It doesn't matter. It's not about the piece of paper at the end of the day. And I mean, what security does that give anybody anymore? Anyway, it used to be you'd get married, so you had security in a family. But we all know more and more these days that there's very little security in any of this. People's jobs have gone, people's freedoms have gone.
Yes.
Our right to just go and hug our neighbor is there's an attempt to take all of that away from us. Our right to democracy, our rights to vote, it's all being stripped away from us. So all of that stuff that we put our security in the last year has massively been pulled out from underneath our feet. So I feel like whether this is a marriage thing or this is another thing for somebody else, where we've got an attachment going, I need some kind of safety, I need some security, and that's a need in our bodies that's inherent. That's part of our survival, and it's part of our thriving as well. Yeah. Right? Certain needs we have just to survive, and certain needs we need them for our expansion, for our evolution, for our growth, so that we prosper. Yeah. And that is a must. That's inherent in every single one of us, because there's always that aspiration to grow and move on. And of course, part of our growing is to couple. Part of our personal growth is to go into relationship. Part of our, even if I focus my entire life just on my own self-love, encompassed inside of that self-love is that bringing that love into relationship and co-relating, you know,
Yes.
communicating and cohabiting in that space of unconditional love and navigating for both of our mutual sake, for the growth of us as humans and for the growth of the collective, right?
Yes.
Twin
Yes.
flames coming together for the growth of the collective, couples coming together, procreating in a real vibration of unconditional love, real understanding, real connection, because we want to populate this planet with children that are conceived and born in present conscious unconditional love, because that's the
Yes.
new
That's
earth.
the new earth.
And you can't bring fear and doubt into that stuff, you know.
No, you can't. And you know what comes up for me, Tara, is a lot of these experiences that everybody's having, the loss of the liberties, the loss of the money, the loss of the jobs. It's like now more than ever, if you can't understand that we're responsible for that, we sourced that, we created that. Because I mean, I lived a life for 11 years where I felt like nursing wasn't going to be my thing. It wasn't, and then days would I just be sitting at my laptop in my supervisor roles, listening to podcasts, wanting to be an entrepreneur, wanting to expand my spiritual practice and I having a full-time job and having my life coaching and spiritual clients on the side and all of the things, but I was afraid to leave the job and it took so all the things and I just think like but our society, at least I can say here in America, they set us up for that. They set us up to work at a job all the time. And we need people to do these jobs. And some people love their jobs and they're great at what they do. And I'm not saying that, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of souls right now. And over the past millennia, it appears, that have been wanting to give of their self and their skills more and more and more, but that safety and that attachment to the money, the safety of the money coming in exactly the way it's always looked, the safety of, well, my dad told me that if I got a nursing license, I would be provided for the rest of my life. My
Yeah.
income would always be good. The insurance would always be there. I would have enough money when I retired, so that we built that. So then I clung on to the safety until I was ready to, I was like, you know what? I just get to feel unsafe for a period of time then. So, and I think about it and how many people every day tell themselves, no, I'm afraid to jump from the job. No, I'm afraid to jump from this relationship, this coupling. It's not conscious, but I love this person. I have an attachment to this person. I'm afraid to
I'm
jump.
safe.
Yeah, it's that. So if it took us creating the COVID virus, if it took us creating the energy that we're getting ready to go into right now, I mean, I just don't see it any differently. I mean, we are responsible for creating that, from saying no so many times. It's the time to be free, and that's what that infinity means to me. I will continuously always say yes to myself. I will continue to always choose love. I will continue to always keep my commitments and my word to myself, not to the job that gives me safety, or the person that gives me safety.
Right. It's an end of dependency,
Yeah.
isn't it? So we
Yeah.
can't evolve and grow up as a human species if we remain dependent on anything, on
Right.
systems, on governments, even on any kind of other people's rules that are supposed to be there to keep us safe, but actually really aren't keeping us safe at all. In fact, they're probably making it worse. So I think we're redefining what it means to be safe, and not, I don't mean redefining as in, let's write a new version in the dictionary and give it a mental title, but more redefining, and what does it feel like to live it? What is security when we live it, when we take away the dependency? Where is the security? And you said it, the security is in an inner feeling within ourselves of unconditional love. And that is where the creation happens. All of our creation that happens around us first happens inside of us. So we did this to ourselves as a human species because we weren't ready to let go of mummy or daddy and say, I'm going to be responsible for my own decisions and my own welfare and my own education and my own health and my own, fill in the blank. We wanted other people to do it for us. And those other people said, well, great, I've got all your power now. And then eventually we complain about not having any power. And then we complain enough, and maybe eventually we stand up and go, you know what, actually, thank you for taking care of me all this time, because I wasn't ready to, and I gave you my power because I was a codependent child, and now actually can I have my power back? So when
exactly, it's not even safe in the first place.
it was never safe. It was just a false premise that we all agreed to live with. Let's all agree to this so that it feels safe for everybody, but it isn't actually safe at all. And we know that now because we're seeing under the covers, we're seeing under the rug where all of these, the not so good stuff has been swept so that nobody saw it for a long time. You know, put on the happy face, everything's fine. And we're really seeing more than ever, everything is not fine in the legal system, in the government system, in the health system, in the families, in the money. The whole thing is built on lies that we all decided to agree to stay naive and not responsible for ourselves, and essentially to not grow up and evolve as a human species. So hallelujah that there are people, you know, hallelujah that finally our souls are ready to say, okay, I'm ready to be independent and I'm ready to be interdependent, which is what I think real independence looks like. It's not just a me, myself, and I. It's like being a huge, big, stable tree in a forest with other huge, big, stable trees.
Yes.
So everyone's not, the whole world isn't built leaning on each other or leaning on one organization or leaning on one institution for safety, prop me up. It's like, no, I stand, I'm rooted, I'm sovereign, I'm strong, I'm self-sufficient in the ecosystem. And as I thrive, so I support the environment around me, and I can co-create and collaborate this incredible, you know, multi-dimensional tapestry of strength and thriving and abundance. And that's what we're doing here, right?
Yes, that is the new earth. That is the new earth. That is the new earth. Exactly what you said, because I have decided to trust my power, get our power back, my power inside of me, trust and love myself. From this experience, I can be then even more generous in my time, my money, my love, my whatever, fill in the blank. And therefore, because of how much more power I feel in myself, I can give more, creating the earth that I want. And then that ripples down to the next person, the next tree, like you said. It's that is what we're creating here. That is that flow, the flow of, that's the money, that's the currency. I want that money. I want that currency.
It is the currency, and not based on something that's just completely fictional right now, because money for a long time has been fictional. It's just it's not even
right. They print it. They print in America. They print it when we need some more of it.
They don't even print it anymore. It's all digital numbers, pretend make-believe numbers. Based on what? Based on what? It's all completely thin air, but that's where we've put our trust in, our security. So,
up until now. Up until now, for heaven's sake.
Right, so I think that false paradigm of the old system, the old paradigm of marriage, perhaps from the dark ages, I don't believe it's always been like this, but I think for a period of time, whilst human beings have been going through the dark age and have been in that codependency and that kind of, you know, infantile state, it's been like, yeah, let me get married because I can't fend for myself, and let me be in a relationship because I don't want to be on my own, and I can't deal with life being on my own. And I, you know, it's like, and there was so many compromises in that you would live with somebody even if you hated their guts, or, you know, because financially it was better, or for the children apparently it was better. I don't agree with that, but marriage has been that institution that both our partners are talking about and going, well, you know, it doesn't work. It's a piece of paper. It's built on a legal system I don't even believe in. It's built on a religion I don't even believe in. You know, what does it matter? So yes, the dark ages, the old system, the old school version, I don't believe in that either. To hell with that. But I do know deep in my body and deep in my soul, I am a womb of wisdom. I'm an old soul, as are you. And there's something incredibly sacred about a bond between two conscious human beings, two souls, who say, in this body, in this third dimensional reality where we have found one another, where we wish to coexist, where we wish to really merge with one another and experience that deeper communion, that deeper intensity with one another that you can only do with somebody who's of a special kind of vibrational match, right? You don't want that bond with just anybody. It's like two swans, you know, when they meet, they bond for life. Because there's something sacred about two energies that come together that know each other like your soul partner and you do. And you go, there's more here for us in this lifetime. There's more here for us to discover. What more do I have to almost shed and let go of and decondition from, and decondition from the old system that this is what marriage used to be. So you're still conditioned with that you think it is. You can decondition from that, guys. That's not what we're talking about.
Yes.
Decondition. But it's like, for me at least, it was like, okay, I recognize that this is a primal innate need, and it's an ascension need as well. It's an evolutionary need to love myself, to know myself, to be in my own I am presence, and to merge with another who's sovereign in himself, because that's an incredible co-creation. That's because those energies combined and completely, when you surrender to one another completely, something else is possible. That's the new earth. That's the quantum field of the new reality being born between two souls right there. And that is holy, holy ground. And I believe with all my heart and soul, in fact, I could say I know that some dedication, creation through the words, some being, an honoring and an integrity and a mapping and a ritualizing and some kind of consecration of that bond. So you both step into the boat with 2 feet, right?
Yes.
And there's something as well, which is super ancient, which is about being witnessed by your community, whether it's your friends, your family, or your neighbors, or the animals, or whatever it is that you want there to witness you. There's something about being witnessed in that union with other people, sending you their powerful love and blessings, and witnessing your union and feeling that incredible energy magnifies it. And then you set sail on this new, you create a new horizon, you create a new future together with these incredible new energies and the blessings of all your witnesses. That's quantum physics. That's love. That's new earth. That's something holy.
That's the ring that we've been speaking of, that eternal, that infinite ring that we've been talking about. I give for myself, therefore I give out, therefore this person gives out, this, therefore they give and give and give, and then it comes back to me. And then we're just in this eternal, beautiful experience of conscious giving and conscious love, self-love, centered love. And it continues to spiral around in that actual, you said the quantum physics. I have to get a tissue real quick.
You go for it.
Oh my goodness. We started off with a bang, y'all.
That's good. I've actually been crying for a few days. I have to say, it's been a really weird few days.
I feel you. It's been the same for me. So it's that eternal giving. Yes, it creates the new earth, and then it's also that vibration. So that in of itself, the fundamental particles of which we all exist, which are the atoms with which make up my flesh, vibrate. And as you know, and I'm sure most of our audience typically knows, when I give of myself and when I am centered in myself, that vibration is bigger. Just like Tara said, creating that new earth, like that energy. Imagine the shifts it would make in the earth itself if everybody had that coupling with themselves, the sacred coupling with another human being, and then with the community, and then with the world, and then it just
it's the flower of life. It is the flower of life. It's the flower of life manifested, because we have it energetically. Like that's the flower of life, if people don't know, is our template for every particle of us. Is like everything in nature, everything is built on this template of this flower of life blueprint. So, which is the center circle, the gold ring, with the point, the absolute point in the center, the absolute love. It's the alpha and the omega, the nothing. And from that point in sacred geometry, you can draw a line, you can draw a circle, then it can begin to grow. Then you have growth, you have creation happening. And the first thing that happens in these circles, I don't know if you can see it here, but another circle, I've put it into a heart, so it's harder to see, but one circle, and then in the second circle, the Vesica Pisces, and the second circle, and from there, the third and the fourth, and it flowers out from that way. So yes, first self,
beautiful,
unconditional love, know thyself, know thy source, be one with that, be completely sovereign, whole, complete in that unconditional love toroid flow, which needs to happen, and that which we are. Self-sustaining, right? Like the tree in the forest, self-sustaining, rooted, abundant, overflowing, right? Fill thy cup first and overflow. That's the self. That's the unity with self, the unconditional giving and receiving. When you have a partner that is a vibrational match to you and wants the same thing, wants the same journey, you have the Vesica Pisces, you come together.
Yes.
And you create the infinity. And from that too, then you can create, whether it's children, whether it's a lifestyle, whether it's a business, whatever it is, you begin to create, you create your family, you create your community, and more circles and more circles and more circles are born. I feel like after a very long time of human experience, and I would put it into a little bit cosmic, the 26 point whatever it is, 1,000-year cycle that we are completing. I feel like, yes, we're coming back connected to souls that we have this potential with. Yes, we are reconnecting with our soul family and our soul tribe, and it's really important that we are witnessed in that as well, that we're not alone, even though we're sovereign and in integrity and in independence, if you like, independence with source, because we're completely dependent on source. But then that we're bringing back the I guess we're living again according to that divine blueprint structure of this flower of life, because it got really messed up. We haven't been living in that according to that self-sustaining, thriving template for a really long time, maybe if ever on this planet. As far as I know, Candice, this is a little bit of a by thing, but as far as I know, as far as I've been able to see as a soul reader, reading the Akashics, reading people's soul libraries, and there's, I've been doing it for like nearly 20 years, I so far can only see that we are the most dense beings that have ever existed to experience unconditional love in the third dimension, in this level of density. We can have unconditional love in fifth dimension and sixth dimension and all the higher dimensions because it's all light, and it's kind of easy to love when you're just a light being and you're an angel. Being in unconditional love whilst being a human being, this is like the greatest experiment that's been going on in the universe for a very long time. And it has never, ever happened before on this planet that our whole species, it's only been a few here or there, a few people here or there that have mastered this, that we read about in history. But for the first time ever, this little globe, our little planet, is coming into that energy that every single human being will realize the love, the unconditional love that they are. And not just realize it within as an experience, but then start to actually be that love on a physical density level and then manifest it around us. So this is what we are doing right now. This is this next wave, the next ascension wave of humanity, is that we are all becoming love and manifesting it. Now we want our whole world to be according to love, right? On the basis of love, on the foundation of unconditional love. So in that, what I understand, when you go through an initiation, I feel like I've helped people through initiations for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And what happens in an initiation is you have to actually let go of all your attachments, everything that you think is important to you and that you need. And what I mean by let go is actually make peace with, not cut it off or pretend or kid yourself that you don't need it
Yes.
anymore, but actually go to the part of you that's super attached and needs something and make peace with it. And just love it and accept it exactly how it is. Embrace it. Say, I've got you. On a real human level, it looks like I see you, I feel you, I've got you, I love you. I know you need to feel special. I know you need to feel secure.
Yes.
And please forgive me that you're not getting it from this and this and this and that person and that person. And all these people have not made you feel like that. And the job didn't make you feel like that. But the truth is, to me, you are that.
Yeah.
And I feel you, and I'm going to give to you unconditionally. This part of yourself that needs it and wants it, I'm going to be the one that gives to you me, you know, so that your need is met.
Yes.
And which is kind of weird, because if you want marriage, how do you give that to yourself? What does that look like? More importantly, what does it feel like? Is there something that you need to do to honor yourself, create your own ritual, and say, you know what, I know that maybe this is a bit triggering. Maybe that whole word marriage is still so resonant with the old paradigm version, which a lot of people don't like and hasn't worked for many. It's been like a jail sentence for a lot of people, or just not stable and safe. So it's like, decondition all of that and just be real honest with ourselves and go, actually, what is it that I'm needing? I'm needing maybe just to feel super met, super seen, super special.
Yes.
And if somebody else is not ready to do that or doesn't know how, I'm going to be the master. I'm going to be the unconditionally loving master in my own life, because let's face it, lots of people aren't there yet. But what can I do? I can lead by example. I can give that to myself instead of leaving myself hanging and wanting and waiting. And we all know what that does energetically, right? If we want something and it's got like a bit of a disharmony to it and it's a bit triggery, what happens? That we want goes away from us. Yep. It's like, oh, you're too needy. You want that too much. And it actually, what we want goes further away, which is what I did to my partner before. That's why he left, right? Because I was like, I'm going to get married. I've needed this. I want this. He buggered off because it was like, whoa, he was repulsed, or repelled rather, because there was a disharmony. There was a neediness. So you meet the needy, you meet that little girl, you meet that primal woman, you meet that queen, that empress that needs to be really seen and met. And there's all these different layers. There's the crone, there's the mother in you that wants that, there's the maiden in that, there's the little child, there's all of those aspects that want that. There's the sovereign, incredible light being in you that's saying, this is why I came to earth, because we make it manifest, we make it physical, we do ritualize it, and honor that part of yourself so much that then your cup becomes full. And it's like it's not like you had to cut something off to have no attachment, but you made peace, you restored, you made whole, you made sovereign that aspect of yourself. You know what I mean? And the frequency then that you emit is completely self-sustained and whole. And it changes everything. And I can speak about that because, one of my biggest Achilles heels biggest Achilles heel in my life was my relationships with men. I mastered many other things before I mastered the relationship, and I'm still mastering that one. But, so I know that this works with everything else that I've done in my life. And now it's like, oh, Tara, put this into practice with this too.
Yeah.
That was a lot of talking. Thank you for listening.
Yes. No, it's crazy to me because as you were speaking, concepts would come into my head. Oh, we could talk about this. And then a minute later you would bring it in. And then it would come up in my mind again. Like it was a really amazing
We always
flow.
do that though. We always do that, don't we? We
this
have like minds. Yeah.
This is true. I have noticed that with our conversations in the past. No, I when we were deciding whether we were going to actually have this interview today because of, where I was at, and I know where you were at as well. I'm so grateful that we actually did dive into this. I want to bring this to my partner so so that he can see what that experience is. I love, what came up to me, Tara, is that experience of getting rid of the word marriage from that old paradigm. It's that the sacred union. It's the sacred union. I want the sacred union. The little girl inside me wants the sacred union. And what also comes up for me, and that just spoke so loudly for me, is the on top of the safety, the way I experience safety and the way many people experience safety is being heard, being seen. So on top of being, having that safety, is we get to be heard, I get to be seen, you get to be seen, you get to be heard and felt. And when that experience isn't down, it breaks up the foundation. So the safety foundation isn't there. And but a sacred union, a union with myself, a union with my partner, a union with my community, that gives us the experience of being seen, of being heard. So then that infinity just continues to keep going back and giving, and receiving.
That's exactly right. And that's the thing, that's the problem. It's the self-love is not just the shortcut, it's actually the key to everything you want ever. Because when nobody else is seeing us, and let's face it, how many people wait an entire lifetime for somebody just to look in their eyes and see who they really are, or to feel safe enough to actually be heard? And my clients, probably like yours, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, never. People go to their deathbeds with this, and it's a longing that's never ever been met. And it's devastating, right? People literally die from not receiving the love that they need. They will leave their bodies one way or another. I've seen it. I mean, with gazillions of times. So,
and their experiences is they don't want it, they don't need it. There's that push away, the disharmony.
Well, that's the self-protection. Saying I don't want it or need it is a protection mechanism, because you feel like, well, I don't trust anybody to give me this anymore. And if I don't want it, then I'll be fine, I'll be safe. But no, we're not. That's a lie to oneself. But what we need to do is just go and see yourself. I see you, me. And it needs to be out loud. That's why I have all these words written down. That's why we have the conversation with the self, and not in the first person. I love it's like I love me. No, it's a relationship. In relationship, we would say, I love you, I hear you, I feel you, I see you, I'm fully here with you, I'm breathing with you. I'm touching you. I'm completely present with you. And when somebody gives us that, then we're like, oh, I start to feel safe. Oh, I can open up. I can be the real me. I'm met. That's the longing. That is the longing, right? What do you want? What do you need? That needs met. The want is met. Woohoo, all the dreams can come true, right? That's what we're waiting for. But if we are sick and tired of waiting for someone else to give it to us, or we've been in pain long enough and we go, you know what, I don't want to be in pain anymore. How do I give that to myself? Do the shortcut version. Be self-sustainable. Grow up, if you like. Be the grown-up, be the angel, be the mother, be the father, be the lover to myself, and say, me, I feel you. Me, I see you. Me, I'm with you. Me, I empathize. I'm going to breathe with you. Part of me that's going, I want to be seen. I'm going to breathe with you. I'm going to breathe with you, little me that wants to get married. I'm going to hold you, little me that wants to get married. I'm going to cherish you, and I'm going to listen to all your complaints, so you get a chance to voice it all out and empty it all out and get it all out of your system and finally be heard. And I love you that much, so I'm going to listen. And I'm not going to walk away, and I'm not going to give you a fix it and say a positive affirmation. I'm just going to be with you and love you, whatever happens. And it's like, oh, isn't that the union we want?
Yes.
So if on top of that, you can be like, okay, let's go and make a ritual for you, me. Let's go and make you a pretty ring. Let's go and, say some promises to yourself. light a candle, whatever it means to you, you know, or do it on a regular basis, because, you know, it's like that's the constant reminder, isn't it? The ring is the constant reminder, because we do need to be reminded all the time. It's not just a one-off wonder and then that's it, you don't need it ever again in your life. No, we need it every day. We need that ritual every day of love and union and bonding. And so what if we gave that to ourselves? And I tell you what, Candice, a lot of people are scared to do it because they think, well, then I'll be so independent, I don't need anybody. And it's actually completely the opposite. We've become so independent, so sovereign, that we can then move into the interdependency, where we can start to create with like-minded, like-souled beings who are on our vibration, who are a vibrational match to us. And we start to then create the paradise and live the dreams that we've always wanted to do, rather than always compromising, waiting for somebody else to do it. So
yes, and that feeling that it all is up, like if it's to be, it is up to me, but I don't like, we don't need to wear all of that as a burden. Is that what the union is all about? That is what the flower of life is all about. That is what the community is all about. It is a we. It is not me, it is we. It's I like, this is for me in moving forward in my life, and I'm working on it. I'm definitely not perfect on this, but I have played a lot of a me game, and I like my me game. Like, I've been doing the work to heal my little girl. I still do the work every day. I'm working on me, and now it's time for we. You know, moving into the we game.
Yeah. I love you, we.
I love you. Yeah,
I
like
love you,
like
me.
this. I know. Book number 4, right?
I've got so many books half written. I need to finish.
I hear you.
I've
I
literally
hear
got
you.
those.
Same. Same. Yeah, it's you know, like feeling that overfilled in of ourselves so that we can give out and watch the community grow. It's a that, you know, I don't know a ton about the age of Aquarius. I did interview an astrologer on the show as well, and she really broke down the age of Aquarius and the experience there. That's not my forte.
Mm.
But the energy does feel that way. At least it does in myself. And then in my community that I've already built, is everybody is in the space where, okay, well, who else do I get to connect with to build this experience?
Right. Like
Who else?
vibrational beings is, you
Right,
know, but the
right,
thing is, if we're out of tune, like a tuning fork that's out of tune, we are going to find ourselves surrounded by other out of tune people, because we're all resonant in a unresonant state with one another. And that's how a lot of people have lived. We've all lived like that, right? Trying to find me, trying to be me in an unresonant, unharmonious field, an energy field of people, the collective. So, but
right.
when we tune our little tuning fork, and I have some somewhere, we tune our little, they're over there. We tune our little tuning fork so that we are like, ding, and we're clear, and our signal is clear, and our energy is clear. We start harmonizing and setting off other tuning forks around us, right? So we all start
Right.
harmonizing together, and everything starts singing in resonance and harmony, and you will then attract like vibrational beings into your field. And maybe they're already there, but you didn't see them because all you could see was you know, the disharmony. But suddenly
Yes.
in your clarity, you're seeing things differently. So in that respect, if somebody is not right for you, or an experience is not right for you, looking a certain way, right? So bringing it back to the marriage with the paper and the church and the this and the that and that has a resonance which is not in harmony with you or your partner. Right? But you in a clear state, or me in a clear state of being in that, I know, I'm clear. I've dealt with my disharmony inside of myself. I'm clear and I'm in peace. I'm not wanty and needy and aching and longing. I'm in peace. I am resonant. I am sovereign, and I'm sending out my clear signal. And there's no definition as yet of what that looks like. It's a feeling. It's a knowing. You know what I mean? And because it's a fulfilled feeling already, that feeling has been met and fulfilled inside of you, then you can create the fulfilled version of what that looks like, because it will be it's how matter is manifest from the invisible. right? You have the invisible signature, the invisible signal, flower of life stuff. And then the matter, the material world begins to give form to that beautiful, clear signal. And it won't be what we think it's supposed to look like, but it will be a vibrational match to our clarity and what we know is real. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense to me. Oh my goodness, Tara, I'm so glad we did this. I'm so glad we did this. Oh my gosh, I could keep talking for the next hour. I feel like we did the one where
We've
we
done
went
that
for
before.
2 hours.
We did. We did.
Oh
No,
my
but it's true
goodness.
though, isn't it? So it's like, okay, what does it feel like? Not what does that look like, and you know, but what does it feel like when I meet myself in that place and I'm, you know, whole and complete. And the more in integrity, the more we embody that, the more that we create that around us. So whether it's a marriage or whether it's a business or whether it's whatever it is, you know, it works for everybody. And that's just creating that consciously is what we're all born for. It's what we're all alive for now. We've come through all of these dark ages because we're ready, because we know what we don't want. We know what doesn't work. We're very clear on that. So now from that, it's like this transition point. It's that little bump in the diamond on the ring. It's like, oh gosh, it's bumpy. This is new territory, except it's not, because our souls know exactly how to do it. But our minds, you know, they haven't caught up yet. So it's a feeling thing. We have to listen to that infinite, age-old, lifetimes after lifetimes, or star wisdom within ourselves that does know what this looks like and feels like without having necessarily the vision for it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And really trusting our souls that we know how to do this, because that's why we're all here right now. We all decided, we're all soul family. We're all going, let's get through this bumpy bit together. We're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat at the end of the day. You know, talking about boats of commitment, we're all on this same Mother Earth ship. We're all having the same experience together. And I feel like the more that we do talk about it and feel about it and express about it and be real, whether we're having a down bump or, you know, an up bump, that we're all in it together, which is what really, really is important. And from that, we build trust. From that, we build safety, a new safety, you know, where everything's better out in the open. That's the kind of world I want to live in.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. That's the kind of world I'm trying to live in. I don't, and I get that it also, there's a phrase that we use in the life transformation leadership course that I'm a part of. And it's, are you willing to lose who you have become in order to become who you truly are?
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I'm an all yes to that, an ascension wave to that.
Oh yeah.
I know when you said it a minute ago, I was like,
you have to watch an earlier video on my self-love talks with Candice to get that joke. You know, we didn't listen.
Yes.
Like the Mexican wave, but the ascension wave. It's quite funny.
Yes. Tara, thank you so much for being a part of this experience with me. Thank you for being the soul sister that just kind of fell into my place. It felt like it was just last year, but it feels like years ago.
I know.
Thank you for who you are in the world. Thank you for the work that you're up to. I know that you have a free gift for the audience. And then there's something else that I wanted to mention about your children's book so that the audience can be aware of that as well.
Okay, thank you for that. I love that.
Yes.
So I have basically the I Love You Me like this. It's an I Love You Me method. It's 7 steps. I created it with Archangel Michael quite a long time ago. And it's absolutely amazing. So there's the step 1 of the 7 steps is about the connection to self and to source. And it's about breathing and learning to receive again, right? Most people are not very good at receiving, right? They're a give and not receive. So on my website, taraloveperry.com, right on the homepage, there's a meditation that you can click on and get a free version of. It's called Breathe and Receive. And people, when they get this meditation, I've had thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people use this meditation, and everybody's just like, they love it. It's one of those daily go-to things. And and also you'd be on my mailing list once you get this meditation. And then I'm always sharing beautiful things like Candice's shows, and you know, I'm sharing it all with my family on there too. So
And
you'll
your
be part
face
of my family.
Yes, and your Facebook, Tara has an amazing Facebook community, the I Love You
Oh,
Me
they're
community.
wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're beautiful souls.
Yeah, and
You're one
Tara,
of them.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. I love being a part of that community.
Yeah.
And you also have, I'm not sure, and we didn't discuss this before we got on the call. So,
Mm.
but do you still have the link for the donation for your children's book?
I do actually. I would have to go and find it and then send it to you. I can totally do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
just yeah, for the audience that's hearing this and this is resonating with you, and for any of you that have children, want to have children, or love children that would love to see these concepts of self-love and community and the new earth come into your children or the children that exist in your community, Tara is creating an incredible experience, a children's book, and I'm going to put the link in here for you to be able to donate and be a part of that experience.
thank you, Candice. And also, you know what, it's really good because I'm writing it for children, but also for the little me inside everybody. And I'm telling you what, right? When I show what I've done already to grown-ups, they're like, I want one of
I
those.
want
And it
that. Yeah.
actually, right? And the reason I need some funding for it was, well, last year I made nothing in my business. I gave all my programs away, like thousands and tens of thousands of pounds worth of courses, just gave them away. I can't do it this year, guys. And there are courses this year launching, so go and check it out. But the reason is because it's not just the book and the cost that it gives to the illustrator and the publisher and all of that kind of stuff, but it's because there's a package around it that I feel like needs to be developed. And there's actually a little doll, a little me that goes with the book that can actually be personalized to individuals when I get this all set up and they can buy it. And also there's like a resource learning package that goes with it, because I want to, once this is up for sale, I want to be able to then donate a big hefty chunk of the profits to children's charities, to children's homes, to care homes, to children that are disadvantaged and need this kind of self-love healing tool that you can do when you're a 5-year-old. You can do it when you're a little kid, just as, you know, it works just as well and it's just as easy. So yeah, I want to be donating the books and the resource materials so that the schools can practice it, the parents can practice it, the carers can practice it. And it's quite a big project actually, and it's going to mean a huge amount to me to be able to birth that into the world and share that. It's beautiful. It's a really beautiful thing. Thank you, Candice, for mentioning it and sharing it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. When I first heard about it, and just a few minutes ago, I was like, we need to talk about the book and
Oh,
we need to
thank
have the
you.
link. Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for what you're creating. So everyone, I hope that, well, not I hope, I know that this served many, many people. So I will absolutely have more interviews with Tara coming up. So stay tuned. Thank you for hanging out with us for, I guess it's probably been over an hour now.
No, yeah,
We tend to do that. Thank you for hanging out with Tara and
it's
I.
worth it.
It's always worth it when it's you and me, 100%.
I love you, Candice. You're
I
beautiful.
love you too. Thank you
Thanks for being
so
so
much.
real.
Yeah, thank you for letting me be real. I couldn't have felt free enough to walk into this room and say, you know what, here's where I'm at. If we hadn't have just had that instant safety feeling with each other, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have been like, well, I'm gonna put my interview face on.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad I didn't either.
Me too.
Hooray
Thank
for being
you.
real.
I know. No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Love
Thank you
you.
so much. I love you too.
All
Thank you
right.
again. Thank you again, everyone,
Thank you
for
everyone
tuning
for
in.
watching.
Bye.
Bye.